All right. Hello, LinkedIn and YouTube. Thank you so much for joining me today on the LinkedIn Live. I'm going to have Joe Apfelbaum talk to us about LinkedIn best practices, and I'm super excited to bring him onto the stage in just about a minute. Wanted to check, who is joining the session. I see Joe just wrote, go ahead and ask your questions right now. Yes, highly encourage you to ask questions. We want to make sure that this session is as engaging and as interactive as possible. We actually have a cool new feature now on StreamYard where we can go ahead and show the comments. As you can see here, Bruno from France. Hello, Bruno. We can actually pull the comments up on the screen, which I am really, really excited about. So do let me know where you're tuning in from, but more importantly, let me know what questions you have about using LinkedIn. I think it's one of the most exciting platforms right now in terms of social media, because the amount of engagement and professionalism that I see on this platform, I really have not seen on any other platform. So I've been on LinkedIn for over 10 years now. I think I joined at some point in 2008 or 2009, and then really have started using it a lot more in the past 3-4 years. And we're going to talk about all of that. So before, let me just check who else is joining. I see we got Santosh, we got Rotenda. Hello, Bruno. All right, I'm actually going to go ahead and bring Joe up into the stage. Hello, Joe. How's it going?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Hey, everybody, what's crack-a-lackin'? It's exciting.
See, I refer to you as the boom guy. I remember somebody asked me, when's your next live stream? I'm like, oh, it's with Joe, the boom guy, the guy who says boom all the time. Why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself? Who are you? What do you do? And tell us about the boom.
Oh, so I'll tell you about the boom first, because I want to make sure that everybody knows what the boom is. So if you look at my LinkedIn profile, if you go to joelinkedin.com later, you'll notice that one of the skills that I posted on my profile to get endorsed for my connections is amazing energy. So if I asked you, Kate, what does amazing energy sound like, and you think of me, probably you're gonna think of the word boom. That's what you think of. Boom is a noise, but it's really energy. Every noise is really energy. We are all energy. So I'm very big into energy. I wrote a book called High Energy Secrets, how I lost 95 pounds, kept it off, and I have higher energy than ever. And I'm very into just giving my energy away and just adding value to other people. So if you're watching this and you want some amazing energy, write boom in the comments below. I know that we have a couple dozen people watching right now live. So just write boom in the comments below and give a little heart. Give us a little hearts, a little loving energy. So I just have a little heart floating. I don't know if you guys can see the hearts floating. But give them some hearts and write boom in the comments below so that I know that you can hear me. And I know sometimes this stuff is delayed a little bit. Not between me and Kate, we can see it right away, but I'll see the booms flying in, maybe 30 seconds after I say write a boom, and I'll know that people are live and they're engaging, but they're not necessarily that. A little bit about my background. So I am the CEO of Ajax Union, a B2B digital marketing agency. But when I started, if I look back at my history of how I started, I actually grew up watching my mother struggle to build her business in the Lower East Side of Manhattan, of New York City. And she, like most business owners, worked really hard to try to hit the $1 million mark, this coveted $1 million mark that only 4% of business owners actually hit in their business, $1 million in revenue. But she didn't make it. Eventually, she went out of business. And when I asked her why, she said she wasn't lucky. She didn't have enough luck. And I started thinking to lots of business owners that haven't gotten to the $1 million mark. And I realized a lot of them had this belief that, has to do with luck and the wheel of fortune changes and blah, 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 and all the superstition. And I knew that I was a lucky person because I'm alive and I have a mother that loves me and I love life. And so I knew that I was lucky. But when I built my business, I realized that it wasn't so much about luck and it was more about having a good strategy. So one of the self-limiting beliefs that I learned that business owners can change if they want to get past that $1 million mark, or if they want to live a life that is really amazing, that's incredible, you really have to think about what is your strategy? What is your plan? Because energy without strategy is a waste of time. And the right strategy will save you a decade. So I've been able to not only build an incredible strategy to build a multi-million-dollar business and be featured as one of the fastest growing companies in America, but I help other people be able to craft strategies on LinkedIn because I've learned how to reverse engineer programs like Google, like software like Google, to figure out how to get you to the top of Google. So I started off building websites. So for many years, I was a web developer, and I'm very technical and geeky, and I love graphic design and Flash and animations and all the things, everything from HTML to CSS to PHP to the back end to the front end to server management. I love that stuff. Love it. I'm a total geek. I'm a total nerd. But I built websites for people, and they say, if you build it, they will come. Do you think it's true? Let me know in the comments, right? True or false? If you build it, they will come. I built it. I built hundreds of websites, but nobody came, Kate. Nobody came. Built the website, nobody came. So I had to learn how to market the website. You can build the best LinkedIn profile in the world, but if you don't learn how to market your LinkedIn profile, you're not going to be successful. And I learned this the hard way. I was always relying on referrals, but relying on referrals is only going to get you a certain place. You have to network. You have to get out there. You have to push yourself. You have to market yourself. You got to advertise. I think it was Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like, work hard like hell, but advertise. That's what he says. Work hard, but advertise. So,
Joe, you're officially the most high energy person I've ever had on my LinkedIn Live. I love it.
Thank you. So for me, I get really passionate about helping people be able to create strategies that will help them not just improve their business, but improve their life. You want to have a better life, Kate, right? That's the goal. The goal is to have a business so that you can have a life. People want work-life balance. I say you just have a life. It's not about the balance. It's about living, doing what you love, and never having to work a day in your life. And so I help people find that within their business. But Ajax Union is a company now that we're focused on building funnels, building funnels for companies. And then we have another company called Evergreen, where we train coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, people that are on LinkedIn that are currently lurkers. We teach them how to become an influencer on LinkedIn.
What's a lurker? Let's stop there, Joe. What's a lurker? Let's define that.
So a lurker is somebody that's watching. So right now we have dozens and dozens of people watching live. I can see that we have many people watching, but most people that are watching are not engaging. So if you're not engaging, it's probably because you're a lurker. You like to watch. Now, there are also networkers. There are lurkers. There are networkers that kind of dabble. And then there are influencers that are people that are constantly growing. So I'm curious to know, are you more of a lurker, like in general on LinkedIn? Are you more of a networker where you're kind of sometimes involved, sometimes posting, but most of the time not? Or are you posting, engaging in messaging? Are you always on and you have a content calendar, or you have an asset library? Are you an influencer? Are you constantly influencing people? So where are you? In the comments, let me know where you are, lurker, networker, or influencer. And if you're a lurker, that's fine. You just need the right strategy. You just need the right tips, the right hacks. You just need a calendar. You need an asset library. You need a dashboard. You need to be told exactly what you need to do in order for you not to lurk and get out of the fear mode. If you're a networker, you probably need accountability. You need to build a community of people around you to be able to give you to sustain you to be more successful. And if you're an influencer, then it's more about contribution, making a difference for other people. So
I think lurker might have slightly a negative connotation to it. So I think, if you don't want to call yourself a lurker, it's more of a passive user where you're or a content consumer, a consumer versus producer. Yeah, I remember thinking about that.
I always ask, do you want to be a consumer or a creator?
Yeah.
We are built in the image of God, which means we're built here to create, to add value. But we also have to consume. I think Robert Kiyosaki says something like this. He said, consume like a hummingbird. I think they consume something like 10,000 calories, 10,000 calories a minute, or some ridiculous amount. They burn. Like if you were moving as fast, if your heart rate was as fast as a hummingbird, you'd be able to consume 10,000 calories a minute or some ridiculous amount of calories. And he said, produce like an elephant. An elephant poops like 150 pounds a day. So
I love elephants. So I have this weird obsession with elephants to begin with. Now I know why. But yeah, that's a good analogy. We have a question here from Chaim. Do you think a lurker is more of an introvert?
No, not necessarily. It's somebody that doesn't have a plan. I mean, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So you could be introverted, you could be extroverted. If you have a plan, you're much more likely to succeed. So Chaim, I don't know what business you're in. By the way, everybody write what business you're in like one sentence. For me, I have a B2B digital marketing agency. We build marketing funnels for companies. Kate, what do you do?
So media partnerships with companies in the data science, AI, machine learning space, helping them reach either my audience or their audience, mainly on LinkedIn.
Awesome. So everybody, you have your sentence, and hopefully it's in your headline. You have your sentence of what you do for a living. So go ahead and put that sentence in the chat so everybody sees. Now, you could be an introvert or an extrovert. that has nothing to do with fear. And the difference between an introvert and an extrovert is where you get your energy. Do you get your energy from other people, or do you get your energy by being by yourself? So an extrovert is a person that needs to go meet with other people and engage so that they can get recharged. And an introvert is a person that gets recharged by themselves. Now, you can have introverts that are totally social. It makes sense. But if you have fear, it's because you don't have a plan.
Yeah. So Himes in data analytics, just FYI. No
Yes.
surprise there. Almost everyone I talk to is in data in the data space. So.
You're in data analytics, and I created a content calendar for you that told you exactly what you need to be posting around your case studies, your stories, your life, the Q&A that people always ask you, all your insights, all your experiences. And I organized it in a calendar. I gave you the videos, and I gave you the images that you need to share. You would not be an introvert on LinkedIn. You would not be a lurker on LinkedIn. You might be a dabbler because you might not have the community. You might be a networker, but what will end up happening is you'll get much closer to being an influencer.
All right, so let's talk about that. Why do we want to be networkers and influencers versus lurkers? What are the benefits?
So some of the benefits of getting out there, of being top of mind with other people, is that if you're in a business that you need referrals, right? If you need referrals to grow your business, if you need exposure to get a job or to be out there, the benefits of being out there is that you get that exposure, you get that attention. Now, there are 650 million users on LinkedIn. 40% are engaged on a daily basis. So 40% of that. So there's hundreds of millions of people that are engaged on a regular basis on LinkedIn. The thing is, there's only 1 million posts coming up a day on LinkedIn. Only 1 million posts coming up a day. And most of them are from me and Kate. So most people are not posting on LinkedIn. So if you want that exposure, the availability of the exposure is there. The thing is, you're not getting it because you're not continuously engaged on LinkedIn. So one of the benefits is being top of mind. Another benefit is that you get visibility. And visibility allows you to be able to be seen when it's most important. And so if you need a referral, it's all about timing. If you need a job, it's about timing. People need to see you and remember you at the right time. You know that real estate person exists, but if they're not posting on a regular basis, if they're not engaging, they're not building trust, and they're not messaging, they're not doing the outreach, you're not going to be able to live up to the potential that you have right now. And let me tell you something. This potential will not be here forever. Facebook, eventually it died, the organic reach. Instagram, eventually the organic reach died. Twitter, the organic reach, all this stuff, the organic reach will die. So LinkedIn is not forever. 2020 is the year of LinkedIn, is the year you can get the most bang for your buck. So now's the time for you to capitalize, build your audience. And once you have an audience, you can take that audience anywhere.
I was just listening to a talk from Gary Vaynerchuk this morning. And one thing he said, okay, this goes back to, it's not on LinkedIn. I actually just joined TikTok at Dedicated, if you guys want to follow me on TikTok. But I was trying to learn, how do you get followers? How do you get engagement? And it's very much the exact same thing as LinkedIn. It's any other platform. And one thing he said was, you mentioned Facebook died, Instagram, may or may not have died. One thing you need to keep in mind is you're gaining new skill sets, right? So the fact that you're able to now go on camera and talk is probably something you weren't able to do before. You've never done it, right? So, but the more you do these things, there are always going to be new social media platforms that are popping up, and you're just going to have the skill set that you can easily transfer to other platforms. So.
Yeah, 100%. And let me tell you something. If you have a right system and the right process for doing things, like for example, you'll see the comments that are coming up right now, and you can share one of the recent comments I just posted if you want. These are templates that are pre-created. These are pre-created templates. So I don't have to think. If somebody says, Joe, when's your next live webinar? What is it about? It's about the fastest way to get referrals only. I didn't sit there and type it up. You didn't see me sitting here typing everything up. I'm literally putting templates in, and I have hundreds of templates that I could be sharing about all different types of things. I can share templates with our direct messaging replay. I could share templates around things related to our course. I could share templates around, like my most, the article that a lot of people want to see. So I have a LinkedIn article. If you write a LinkedIn article, Kate, no one's going to see your LinkedIn article because LinkedIn articles don't get viewed. But if you're like me and you just share that little blurb, that little text blurb, somebody says, hey, Joe, tell me about Ajax Union. And I share that article right now, just kind of like the comment that I just left. This article has hundreds of views. My goal is to have 1,000 views and 100 likes on this article. And the way that I do that is by creating little templates. And when somebody asks me a question, hey, tell me about Ajax Union, I share that. If somebody says, Joe, tell me about your most recent meetup, right? What am I going to say? I'm going to say, oh, come, it's on Monday, June 1st. And then I have to start typing the whole thing up. No, I just, boom, it's there. Now
But
you can.
how cool is StreamYard at showing the comments in live in real time? Isn't this amazing? I'm just so excited about this. This is my first time, so you keep going. You keep going, Joe. By the way, we do have a question here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump into questions. I know we have other stuff prepped, but you want to just jump in?
Go right into the question. So Pia said, you read it.
All right, so I'll be graduating in December, so end of year, big data analytics concentration. How do I engage myself in LinkedIn, market myself to get more interviews or calls?
Ooh, this is a big one. This is a big one. And the reason why this is a big one is because you get the best jobs. You get the best jobs from what? From referrals. You get the best jobs from your network. Kate knows this. I know this. If you want to get a really, really good job, if you want to get an amazing job, you need to be able to get referrals for those jobs. Now, how is anybody going to know what you do for a living? I just did a whole job hunting webinar. So if you want to watch that, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'll send it to you. I'll send you my template. So just send me a DM. If you want to get a job, send me a DM on LinkedIn. Connect with me. Say, Joe, send me your job hunting interview, and I'll send you the link. I don't want to blow up the comments with that right now. But my point is, you need to figure out where you want to work. That's number one. Number two is you need to connect with people that work at those places on LinkedIn. And number three is you got to just post about it. Post about the fact that you're looking for a job, and post about your expertise, and post about your journey. And what's going to end up happening is your network's going to help you find the job. That's what's going to end up happening. So those are the three most important things you can do to find the job for you.
Yeah, I have a quick story to share. So this is on Facebook, but there's a woman that constantly posts about accounting and taxes, right? Now, I have zero interest in accounting or taxes, but she posts about it at least 3 times a day, and she talks about her kids and her life and everything else. But, a couple times a day, she still talks about her company and how she's growing the business kind of behind the scenes. And if I ever needed a tax or accountant professional, she immediately comes to mind. I'm like, okay, whoever asks me, I'm like, oh, go to her. She's doing this. Because I know for a fact she's doing it. She talks about it all day long. So I think it's very similar to what you just said.
Yeah, I love that. And I even wrote an article recently on LinkedIn, and I'll be happy to send you that article. Look at my recent articles on LinkedIn, and you'll notice that I have this whole thing about what to do if you're looking for a job. Because a lot of people ask me that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. So to those that are watching right now, feel free to put your comments and questions in. I'm going to go into my next question for you, Joe. Let's say, people don't have a lot of time. I know you and I live on LinkedIn. We do a lot of stuff on here, but not everybody lives on the platform. And let's say they have 10 or 15 minutes a day that they could spend on the platform. What are the quick hits? What should they be doing every single day?
So step number one is you got to decide what your goal is on LinkedIn, right? What is your goal? What is the most important thing that you want to do on LinkedIn, even if you only have 15 minutes a day?
Yeah.
So if you don't have a goal, if you're not sure what your goal is, you're not going to be able to succeed on LinkedIn because if you don't know where you're going, you're not going to get anywhere else. So if I asked you what your goal is for LinkedIn in the chat right now, tell me what your goal is for LinkedIn, right? Goal, colon, and write what your goal is for LinkedIn. So a goal may be get more opportunities. A goal may be I want more clients. A goal may be I want more referrals. A goal may be I'm looking for a job. A goal might be I'm looking to just build relationships with people and expand my network. A goal might be I want to be a LinkedIn influencer or influence a group of attorneys or whatever it is. So whatever your goal is, you have to be able to first have a goal because that will dictate the activities that you want to do. The second thing you want to figure out is who is your ideal connections? Who are the people that you need to be connecting to? So before you start going out there and talking about things, you need to know who you're talking to. Because if you're just talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. So for example, you, Kate, you know exactly who your audience is. You know exactly what to say. And that's how you cultivate an incredible audience. So once you have your goal, you got to figure out who your target is. And then once you have your target, now you have to write down your messaging to figure out what you're going to say to that target market that will get them excited because they have pains and they have gains. They have things that they value and things that they don't value. They have dreams and they have goals. So all these things are things that we teach people of how to create a LinkedIn strategy is have a foundation. So you can do all the things you want in the world, but energy without strategy is a waste of time, and the right strategy will save you a decade. So you need to have the right strategy written down. So we teach you how to create a strategy in literally just 15 minutes, you have a written strategy. Once you have your strategy, now you got to prepare your assets. Because if you only have 15 minutes and you don't have assets, if you don't have templates, if you don't have scripts, if you're not working off a dashboard, if you don't have an optimized profile, you can send people to your profile. But if it's not optimized and no one knows how to contact you, you're not going to get people to contact you. If you don't have call to action, if you don't have the right headline, if you don't have a great background photo, if your account is on private and no one can see you, you're going to have some issues. So you got to make sure your profile is set up correctly. You have a list of assets. You have dashboards. Once you have your assets, your dashboards, and your profile set up correctly, now I can tell you what to do in just 15 minutes a day. But I wanted to make sure that you have a foundation. Okay?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, when you were describing that, I literally pictured like all this time and effort spent on getting people to go to a store that either has bars on the windows or don't have any chairs in a restaurant, or missing the key things, right, that prevent people from actually going into that store and buying the product or service.
Cool.
Yeah. So we've got.
I totally get that. We got any questions so far? I'm going to get into.
Yeah, we got questions. We got comments. We've got a goal. Let's see. Speak to people working on diverse problem statements and understanding how they blend domain knowledge and machine learning. So he wants to talk to people about diverse problem statements. It's a very, very specific goal.
Okay, cool. So if you want to talk to people about diverse problem statements and understand how they blend domain knowledge and machine learning, I mean, that who are the people, right? So it's not just anybody. You want to talk specific. So the more specific you can get with your goal. So if you want to speak to CEOs, that's one thing. If you want to speak to entrepreneurs, it's another thing. If you want to talk to people that are in learning and development, it's a whole nother conversation. You want to talk to real estate agents, a whole nother conversation. So you really have to figure out who you want to talk to. And once you know who you want to talk to, then you're much more likely to get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
Yesha, what did she say?
So Yesha says, how do you reach out to people to build relationships with them, or like building a network where you do have a personal touch rather just the numbers? And I do want to talk about avoiding just focusing on numbers. So let's hear your thoughts on that.
Okay, so lots of people are hoarding connections on LinkedIn. So they're getting connections and they're just hoarding. How many connections are you hoarding, Kate?
Upwards of 20,000 connections.
Right. Me too. So I'm hoarding over 22,000 connections on LinkedIn. I have over 30,000 followers. You probably have like 40,000 followers, right? Or 50.
I have 116,000 followers as of right now. When we started the session, it was 115,999, and I just remember that because I saw it. I'm like, oh look, one more, and then I'll have 116,000.
That's amazing. So you have 116,000 followers on LinkedIn. You know what the crazy thing is? Gary Vaynerchuk has millions of followers, and when he posts something, he doesn't get millions of views. He doesn't get millions of views. He gets thousands of views, just like you do, and just like I do. So it's not so much about just the vanity metrics. It's not so much, oh, look at me, I have 10 million connections. I have no, that's not going to help you. Yeah. What's going to help you is having a goal, making sure that you have the right target market, getting your messaging in place, and building real relationships. So instead of hoarding connections, what I want you to do is I want you to do 3 things every single day. Even if you only have 15 minutes a day. Do 3 things every single day. So the first thing, and again, I like keeping things simple, right? Yeah. You're going to create a LinkedIn system. My LinkedIn course basically has 3 steps. Strategy, right? Creating a strategy. I taught you how to do that today. Number 2 is having assets, getting your assets in place. And number 3 is taking action. So if you're not going to do that, it's not going to work. So there are 3 things that you can do every day in terms of taking action. And I have a whole webinar I do with the 10 things you can do every day and all that. And I break it down, and our course has frameworks and scripts and checklists and cheat sheets, and we walk you through the whole process, and then we coach you through the whole process. But just to keep it really simple for those that just want knowledge right now, the knowledge is that number 1 thing that you need to do is, if you want visibility on LinkedIn, is post every day. How often do you post on LinkedIn? I'm curious to know how often you post on LinkedIn. And the reason I want to know how often you post on LinkedIn, most people are not posting at all. Kate, how often you post every day, right? Sometimes you post a few times a day, right?
I post at least a few times a day. Yes, every single day.
Why do you think people are not posting on LinkedIn? Why are people? What's?
I think, I'll go with what my personal view. Before I started posting, the reason I didn't post was 1, everyone else is posting. What do I have to add? 2, what if somebody I work with or my family member sees it? Oh no, I don't know why. That's such a big fear for people. Like, somebody might see it, but somebody you don't know sees it, and you're fine with that. It's a very weird thing. But I quickly got over that when I realized that you do have your own perspective on whatever it is out there. So even if a million people just posted on, their views on the specific article that just came out, your view and your perspective is different because you are a different person. You have a different background, different experiences. So you definitely have something to add.
Yeah, so I shared a poll, and you can share that comment if you want, but there's a poll in the comments right now that you guys can go ahead and check out. And I asked people, I said, how often do you post on LinkedIn? And people voted for that, and most people that voted on there post daily on LinkedIn. But most people on LinkedIn didn't even vote. Only 26 votes. So the data and the poll actually closed. I should probably add a new poll.
Yeah.
You have access to polls already?
I haven't checked. I saw that it came out.
Okay, cool. So if you want to check later. But people are afraid of criticism, kind of like Donna said.
Donna just said the same thing. Exactly. Don't be afraid.
Well, there's fear will make you come up with lots of excuses.
Yeah.
And I want everybody to write this down. Write this down. If you have a pen or a paper, or put this in the comments, write it down.
I'm ready for you, Joe.
Ready? Write down the following. You either have reasons
or excuses.
Or you have results. Reasons are excuses, okay?
Okay, well, you can have reasons to do something.
You either have.
I don't even think of that way.
You either have reasons or results. Usually when you want to do something, you don't need a reason, you just do it. You just take action. Okay, you have to be unreasonable if you really want to take action.
Yeah.
So otherwise, I'm going to come up with lots of reasons why not to do it. So if I ask you, give me a reason why you shouldn't post on LinkedIn, you're going to give me 1,000 different reasons.
Yeah.
But I don't care about your reasons. I want you to post on LinkedIn. You'd be like, yeah, but my dog ate my homework. Well, that's a reason. Right? You're going to have lots of reasons, but I want results. You either have reasons or you have results. And fear will help you come up with lots of justifiable reasons not to post on LinkedIn. I don't want my parents to see it. I don't want my siblings to see it. I don't want my employers to see it. The government doesn't allow it. I'm not sure the content is valuable. To see it. I don't want to overshare. Like there's like a million different reasons. I don't have time. I don't have money. I don't know how to write English. I have an accent. I don't know. Like
those are definitely reasons I've heard from people before. And I'm like, that's good. That means you'll stand out. That's your thing that helps you stand out in the crowd.
But people are going to give you a million reasons why not to do it. And so they're going to justify it, and then they're not going to do it. Number one is if you want visibility, you got to get over your need for reasons and look for results. And results means you just have to start posting. Now, we teach people that there are 6 different types of posts. There's evergreen articles, there's video, there's images, there's polls, there's documents. There's like a million different things you could be posting on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn Live.
Most people are not doing it. And the reason they're not doing it is because they're afraid and because they lack a plan. They lack a strategy. They lack an asset library.
More inspiration. See, we just had a question here. Bharat says, what do you post regularly on LinkedIn? But before that, I wanted to address Nagdev, who says overposting and underposting are equally as bad. I think, it depends. I know it decreases your what do you call it? Your engagement rate, but it depends what you care about.
You can't overpost. You can't overpost. It's not like sending email. Kate, it's not like sending email. When you post, it goes into people's feeds. And if they're on the feed, they're looking for something. And if they're looking for something, post. Post 10 times a day if you want. Post. You might not get enough engagement because the algorithm, if you overshare, might not give you the engagement that you're looking for, but then you use other ways to get engagement. And that's the second thing I want to talk about. The second thing I want to talk about is the second activity you need to do every single day is engage, because engaging builds credibility with people. I was looking, somebody reached out to me for a job. Somebody reached out to me because I'm hiring. I'm always looking to hire people. Somebody reached out to me and I instantly knew who the person was. You know why? Because she's always liking and commenting on my posts. She's always liking and commenting on my posts. And for the person that asked the question, they said, Joe, what do you post about on LinkedIn? Well, very, very simple. A lot of people ask me this question. That's why I prepared a little template with the answer. The answer is, look at my updates. Click on that link and look at my updates on LinkedIn, and you'll be able to see my recent updates. I post about marketing. I post about business. I post about my life. I post about questions that people ask me. There's so many different things you could be posting on LinkedIn, but most people are not posting on LinkedIn. And the reason they're not posting is because they don't have an asset library. Now, the second thing you need to do is you need to start engaging. By the way, when you engage with a really good comment, you can later repurpose that comment as a post. And then you could repurpose your posts and leave your posts as comments on other people's posts.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of like a double-edged sword.
The number of ways you can repurpose different types of content. I mean, we can do a whole session just on that, I think. So we got a question here from Kurt Broman. Is it important to avoid controversy in your posts? The old adage of there's no such thing as bad publicity seems true in this case. However, some topics may be polarizing. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, if you're going to say I love Trump, you're going to get a lot of hate. And if you're going to say I hate Trump, you're going to get a lot of love. I mean, you're going to get a lot of hate too. Either way, If you're going political, if you're going religious, if you talk about abortion, if you're talking about political or religious, you're going to get a lot of slack from people that their nerve is felt, anything emotional. So you obviously want to be polarizing, but be polarizing in an intelligent way. Don't ruin your personal brand by saying something that, that is sexual or something that, takes advantage or racism or things like that. It's just dumb. Of course, you're going to get a lot of stuff. You say something racist on LinkedIn or something male chauvinist or something against, people with disabilities or whatever it is, or people that, that are wheelchair bound or whatever, you're going to say something like that, you're going to get tons of slack. But you're going to get slack either way. I think this guy named Patrick Kennedy, you know what he said? He said that if you haven't pissed somebody off by 12 p.m., you're not marketing hard enough.
It's 12:30. Have you done it, Joe?
I'm sure somebody's upset here. By the way, if you're upset, put a frowny face. If you got upset even a little by something that I said, put a frowny face in the chat.
And we'll bring you on. We can actually bring you in and you can argue with Joe. If you're upset, you can share your point of view.
Put a frowny face if you're upset. If you're happy, put a happy face in the chat. I'm sure you're happy.
Oh my God. Oh, Chaim says, take a side for or against pie charts. I have some strong feelings for that. But you can find out more about my feelings in the Dedicated Academy. I'm actually launching an online course in about 3 weeks. So I'll be covering pie charts there, Chaim, if you're interested. All right. Other social media platforms. I actually saw a question on that. The thing is here you go. For people interested in gaining more visibility across social media platforms, do you tie your LinkedIn persona to other platforms like Facebook, Insta? I'm going to add TikTok in there. And is it important to maintain a consistency in your digital persona?
Yeah. So for me, I have all the platforms. I don't use TikTok. I have it. I've uploaded a few things to TikTok. It didn't really get much traction, and I didn't want to invest time or effort. And it was also like blowing up my phone with it was crazy. So I basically
you could just turn off notifications. You know that, right?
I know, but it was taking up lots of resources on my phone, even without notifications, and it was doing weird stuff. So I basically just deleted it from my phone because I didn't want to deal with it. And again, I had reasons. But for me, my three main platforms are LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. And they all have different purposes. LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook, they all have different purposes. But the Instagram story is very, very powerful. I get about 1,000 people to look at each story that I post on Instagram. So often I'm talking about the things that I'm doing on LinkedIn. As a matter of fact, this was just a reminder for me to start storying this right now. I could be storying about my story, about the fact that I'm talking about Instagram stories. So what do I do? Like on Instagram, so if I'm on Instagram, so right now I'm sharing Kate on Instagram right now. So if I'm on Instagram, what I'm going to share about what I'm doing right now in the moment. So I'm telling a story about what I'm doing right now. If I'm on Facebook, it's more about going live on Facebook and engaging and asking great questions on Facebook. But LinkedIn is about building relationships, and that's what I use LinkedIn for. But those relationships, I then use cross-platform because sometimes people are very, very active on Instagram, or they're very active on Facebook, or they're very active on some other social media site. So I want to make sure that I capture people where they're active. So they're still going to see me on LinkedIn. They're still going to see me on Instagram. They're going to still see me on Facebook. They're still going to be in my email because I'm sending emails out as well. But you want a multi-pronged approach, Kurt, and that's how you're going to be more successful in general. You can't hit somebody over the head one time. You got to hit them over the head multiple times on multiple platforms doing multiple things. So I'll send somebody a WhatsApp message. I'll send them an email. They'll see me on Instagram. They'll see me on LinkedIn. They'll see my Facebook Lives. And then they'll see me at an event, and then they'll buy.
Yeah. So do you repurpose your content? So let's say you create one video and you put it on LinkedIn. Do you then use the exact same video and I guess same copy text for the other platforms, or do you change things up and update them?
Gary Vaynerchuk speaks about this idea called context. And every platform has a different context and a different mindset. Sometimes I'll share the same thing across all the platforms, but more often than not, I will change the context for that platform. So I'll ask a question on LinkedIn, and then I'll go to Facebook and I'll ask it in a different way that's more personal to my personal relationship. So LinkedIn's more my business relationships. Facebook has many business relationships, but it's also my personal relationships that are not necessarily on LinkedIn. So there are many, many more people on Facebook than there are on LinkedIn, but the people that are on LinkedIn have a different mindset. So when you're on LinkedIn, you're thinking of what? You're thinking of
business,
inspiration, personal development. you're thinking
LinkedIn.
about,
But I don't like to see inspiration on LinkedIn. Sorry.
do you like to see inspiration on LinkedIn?
No.
Well,
I go to Facebook and Instagram for inspiration. I like professional content on LinkedIn, although I do post some stuff about my running and personal stuff. Yeah, I know there is plenty of inspirational, motivational content on the platform. That's one of the highest ranking hashtags is motivation. I think it
yeah.
made the top 10 list.
Yeah, or inspiration. So I just shared on LinkedIn. I said, what type of polls do you like to fill out on LinkedIn? And I actually shared a link to the poll there. And I said, do you want business-related polls? Do you want personal development-related polls? Do you want LinkedIn tips? So I got most people, in the beginning at least, most people said personal development. Again, I don't have enough data there to be able to really give me an accurate.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Right now, business-related polls are winning.
Are they?
100% are getting annoyed by polls. I love it.
So polls are really cute. I mean, you could have a lot of fun with this whole poll concept. So right now it's tied, personal development and business polls. I expect personal development to win on LinkedIn. That's my own personal thing. It also depends who I send the poll to. But ultimately, at the end of the day, people care more about a business and inspiration on LinkedIn than they do on other platforms. On Facebook, it's more about family, friends, fun,
Puppies.
food. Puppies, right? Food, puppies, videos, funny stuff, right?
Yeah.
Fun, all the F word stuff. And then on Instagram, it's like interesting photos, photography, videography, interesting celebrities. You watch
and
your
TikTok.
TikTok is like dancing stuff. There's a lot of dancing stuff and a lot of pranks. A lot for teenagers. TikTok is very teenager friendly. So if you're a young teenager, you want to capture that market, you're going to focus on TikTok. TikTok is like super ADD on steroids. If you want to watch 7-second videos like a madman and just go through 1 million pieces of content quickly, you're going to go there. It really feeds your need for ADD.
Yes. So Russell Willis says, as long as there's value to the posts, he doesn't see any issues with posting frequently. However, posting low value banality like clickbait style content, I do not like. So clickbait style content. Comment below if you want blah, blah, blah. And then you get like 100 comments of just one word. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it depends on what your goal is, right? So for example, today I posted a post on LinkedIn. I posted a video. One simple conversation changed my entire life. That video got 77 comments and 41 likes in the past 5 hours. Now, most of the comments that are on there are me commenting. You'll be like, what? What do you mean? Because what I told people, what I did was I said, tag a coach that added value to your life. So I tagged 50 coaches that added value to my life. Now you can consider that clickbait, right? You can say, oh, look at that. We just want to tag coaches. No, what I want to do is, first of all, get in front of more coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs and talk to them about my course that's actually helping many of them. But more importantly, what I want to do is I want to make sure that people are expressing gratitude to the coaches in their life. And this is one big tip that I got from coaches. And so I spend some time expressing gratitude. So it depends on why you're doing it, what your intention is. I posted something else with a LinkedIn question recently about what technologies to use on LinkedIn. It got thousands, over 7,000 views in the first day. That was incredible because I tagged about 30 LinkedIn coaches and I asked them to share their thoughts on what technologies to use. And I'm going to share the link to that in the comments below so you guys can see that. And that's actually a very good post because it gives you a lot of tips on technologies to use for LinkedIn coming from lots of different LinkedIn trainers. So it's just very interesting, so doing things smart. So you have kind of like the clickbait idea, but it's not actual clickbait because you're also adding value. Mixing it correctly will end up helping you game the algorithm.
Okay, got it. Thanks for that. Okay, if there was one thing that you can tell people not to do on the platform, what would it be?
Don't sell. Don't sell on the platform. Nobody's here to buy.
So don't directly message people saying, come and check out my new hat that I'm selling.
Yeah. Like, for example, let's say you're a consultant, right? You're a consultant and you do data analytics or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You're going to message somebody.
Way to make it relevant, man. Good job.
You're going to message somebody and you'll be like, hey, I have a really new product, a data analytics product. Would you like the demo of my new product? I'll just send back a middle finger, right? I'm not going to do that. But the idea is I don't want you to sell me anything. because we are here to build.
What if you really need it, Joe? Because I am selling something I think is going to change your life.
Great. So if you're selling something that's going to change my life, let's have a conversation first. Let's be human, right? So you might start with a greeting, and then you'll feed me by asking me questions and by inviting me to stuff. And then it can turn into a meeting where you say, hey, can I send you some info about my demo? But if somebody's hitting on you, let's say in a bar, and I love this analogy because it's a very popular analogy. If you're sitting by a bar having a drink by yourself and somebody walks over to you and says, hey, I'm the best thing since sliced bread. I want you to marry me right now. Let's go to Vegas tonight. I'm really good. I have a lot of money. I will cherish you and be honest to you. I will take care of you. And you look at this person, you're like, do you know anything about me? Like, who even are you? Like, what do you want? Leave me alone, you creep. You're weird, right? That's what people feel like when you're selling to them. By the way, in the comments right now, if somebody sells you, they just walk over to you and they try to sell you something on LinkedIn DM, how do you feel? I'm curious to know how you feel. You know how I feel?
I'm sure people get these comments or messages pretty frequently. I think LinkedIn makes it so easy, right, to message people that you've never met or have no relationship with yet. I think there should be a limit of like at least 5 message exchanges before you can send a link or something like that. I think I would actually like that. Or you can have a conversation before you start sending me your webpage to go sign up for.
Or just have common sense, right? But common sense is not common practice. That's the reality of it. So what I would love to know is, how do you feel in the comments? Let me know right now. How do you feel when somebody tries to sell you on LinkedIn on the first shot? And for me, I feel like icky. I feel like, ew, it's not authentic. This is transactional. I want a relationship. I don't want a transactional thing. So if I just hit you up and try to sell you something, that's super transactional. And so what I teach people inside our course is I teach them there's actually a process for picking up a client on LinkedIn without selling anything. And that's adding value by greeting, feeding, and meeting people. So greeting means, thank you for connecting with me on LinkedIn. That's it. That's a greeting. Or happy Wednesday. That's a greeting. Or happy birthday. That's a greeting. Or it's really nice to see you on LinkedIn. That's a greeting. All these are greetings. We have lots of scripts with different greetings that you can use. Then there's feeding. Feeding is about appreciation. Feeding is about invitations. Feeding is about all different types of questions you could be asking them once you already built some rapport.
Like what? Do you have an example of that?
I'll give you an example. So for example, let's say I say, happy birthday, Kate, and you say, thank you very much, right? You say, thank you very much. Because I saw.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. Thanks, Joe.
So I said, hey, Kate, I'm doing a virtual networking event on Monday. I would love for you to come. I think you could benefit and get more clients. Would you like me to send you some info about that? And you say,
on Monday. I'm busy on Monday, man.
Okay, no, that's totally fine. I totally understand you're busy on Monday. Actually, and so now I'm past the greeting thing.
Now it's a conversation. Yeah, now we're scheduling time almost.
Now I'll give you some appreciation. I'll be like, hey, Kate, I recently watched one of your live videos, and I absolutely love what you're doing on LinkedIn. I absolutely love. You're doing such a great job. Thank you for the contribution you're making to the LinkedIn community. So what are you going to reply to that?
Yes, thanks. I'm glad you enjoy my content.
Awesome. I noticed some opportunities that you have on your profile that maybe you're not tapping into. Would you like to do a 5-minute review of your profile? I'm happy to get on the phone a little later today. I'm available at 6 or 7. Are you available, and are you interested in reviewing your profile? I've been reviewing many profiles over the past several years. Let me know.
See, to that, I don't know. I don't know how. Maybe because I don't know how I would respond to that one, honestly, Joe. Because I would start thinking like, okay, he's trying to get something. That my little alert goes up. Like the 5-minute free trial typically leads to, okay, now pay me.
Right. No. And yes, maybe that's the case. Or so I would go even softer for somebody that has 100,000 followers. I'll be like, I've been reviewing some influencers' pages and like Gary Vaynerchuk, and I have some thoughts. If you'd like to get on the phone, I'm happy to hop on the phone to give you the thoughts and the insights that I got.
That I would join. I think that conversation I would have.
Cool.
So let's see. We've got Rolando. I don't like to be approached by consultant sales personas, but I do like to talk to them about data disciplines.
Yeah, so the key is greeting, feeding, and meeting. That's the key. And once we do that, I can create custom approaches for anybody that will make people not just walk to talk to you, but run to talk to you. It's all about
We've got a comment here from Russell. I find few bigger turnoffs on LinkedIn than messaging. Thanks for connecting. Here's my generic sales pitch. Yes, those are the
Yeah,
worst.
I love saying thanks for connecting with no pitch. No pitch. So that's the most authentic way that you can be, is no pitch.
Yeah.
Greetings means I don't need anything from you. Don't waste people's time. Right? If you want to write this down, write it down. Don't waste people's time. That's the biggest turnoff in general in life.
Yeah.
Because time is the one thing that you have in common with Warren Buffett. We both have the same 24 hours in the day. So if you're wasting my time, it's worse than wasting my money. So if you're just trying to tell me something and you don't care about me, then you're wasting my time. So stop wasting my time. Okay, don't say how are you on LinkedIn if you don't really.
Oh my God, that's probably, I don't know what's worse. What Russell said about those salesy pitches after connecting, or hi, how are you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, we have literally never seen your name before. This is really weird for me right now. And I don't know why that is, because if we were
It's not
meeting
authentic.
on the street, like, hey, how's it going? It's kind of
It's not authentic. It's not authentic. It's a lie. If somebody, okay, same thing. Somebody sees you at a bar, you're having a drink by yourself, right? You're single. Somebody walks over to you, a guy, even if he's a good-looking guy, he walks over to you and say, "How are you? You look depressed." Or "How are you? Just how are you? How are you today? Tell me what's going on in your life. How are you?" You'll look at the person and be like, "What is going on?" But instead, he walks over to the bar, leans over, orders a drink, looks at you, and says something like, "It looks like it's your birthday today. If it is, happy birthday." And then he looks away.
That's creepier, man. When's the last time you went to a bar and spoke to a girl?
The truth is I haven't.
It looks like it's your birthday. That is such a weird line. I mean, okay, to those listening, something better would be like, what kind of drink is that? It looks interesting, and then order the same drink. Or talking about the weather is better than asking if it's your birthday. That's creepy.
Okay, I'm sorry. So obviously I don't know how to hit up women in a bar. I don't do that. But if I did that, I would be a miserable
yes.
and I would try to reverse engineer the way to actually do it. But somebody without wasting that time without wasting their time is the key. That's the key. Read somebody without wasting their time.
Yes, absolutely. We've had a comment here from Kurt again. I know he's in the security space. He was talking about making sure you change your passwords often on all these platforms. I can vouch for that. I recently had some hackers. I believe it came from Facebook or LinkedIn. I really don't know, but yeah, that's never a good feeling. So change your passwords often.
I love how many likes we have. Could you guys put the round of applause like? If you're seeing the celebrate like, hover over and just give it a click. I want to see what happens if we get a round of people giving a round of applause like. So go ahead and give a round of applause like to this post. Just triple click on it or something. Let's see what happens.
Okay, back to numbers. I know we touched on this before, but do we really need that many followers, or should we be focused on building a smaller, more focused community of people that we want to be having a conversation with?
I would say that your views are a ratio of your followers. Typically, your views are a ratio of your followers. And I would even say more, your views are a ratio of your active followers. Because although you have 100,000 followers, most of your followers are not going to be active. As a matter of fact, 65% of people on LinkedIn don't even log in on a regular basis. So, you actually have a much smaller percentage of followers than you actually think you have, because most people are not engaged. And the people that are engaged, you're competing with other stuff on the feed. So what I would tell you is that you need more followers. You need a base of followers in order for you to have any type of engagement. So what you want to do is, instead of just having any types of followers, have engaged followers. Find people that are engaged on the platform. Those are the best people to build up as followers. So make a goal of having 100 engaged followers.
How do you know they're engaged? What's the criteria for knowing?
They're liking, they're commenting, they're active. You send them a DM and they reply. Those are people that are engaged in the platform. So you want to make sure you have a list of at least 100 people that are engaged on the platform. Often people that have more than 1,000 followers. You don't want someone that's engaged and has 1 follower. It doesn't help you. You want someone.
What if they just started? What if they literally just started? You can't blame them.
I wouldn't put them on the list of 100. Okay, if they got started, that's great. But if you want a reach of 100,000 people, so 100 people that have 1,000 followers each will give you a reach of 100,000 people if all those people at some point like or comment on your stuff. So that makes it really simple from a numbers perspective to get that type of reach. The second is your direct reach. You have to have at least 1,000 followers on LinkedIn for you to have any type of reach. The average CEO has 930 connections on LinkedIn. So if I'm looking at your LinkedIn right now and you have 230 connections, you're not even trying, because you can easily add ideal connections. So make sure that number one is you add engaged connections, and number two is you add ideal connections. And those are the types of connections you want to be consistently adding over time. And set a goal. You know, what is your connections goal? In the chat right now, tell me, what is your connection goal right now? My connection goal used to be 500 plus at some point when I started LinkedIn. And then it became, I wanted 1,000, and then 2,000, and then 5,000, and then 10,000, and then 20,000. Now that I have 20,000, my goal is just to connect with engaged LinkedIn users from 20,000 to 30,000. So I actually have another 5,000 to 10,000 engaged LinkedIn users. You know, I'm to over 10,000 CEOs. In New York City, I have thousands of CEOs that I'm connected to. So I know who I'm connected to. I build a relationship with those people, and that's how I grow my business.
Yeah, you know, early on, and I think a lot of people that have tuned in can probably relate to this. Not sure if you can relate to this, Joe, but when I started out, I didn't connect with people I did not know. So even I would go to a conference and somebody would, you know, meet with me and we have that introduction, and then they try to add me on LinkedIn, and I'm like, whoa, what are you doing? We're not that close. It's weird. So I think at some point I had this like little trigger moment where I completely switched, because I had this realization that it's as if you're going to a conference and only talking to the people you know. You're not growing your network. You're not growing your community. You're not open to talking to anybody new. And I think LinkedIn also as a platform has changed from that perspective, because it used to be connected those that you know, and they would push that pretty heavily. And now I don't really see that messaging anymore. It's more like connect with like-minded individuals we have, you know, things in common with.
Yeah, so it used to be connect to only people you know really well. That was the term. Connect to only
it would
people.
be like my brother and my colleagues and stuff like that. So
yeah, but now, I mean, if you've been on LinkedIn for more than 10 years, and you export your connections from LinkedIn using our export tool, and then you look at the earliest connections, because that's the only way to really see your earliest connections. So I highly recommend that everybody export their connections and look at the data. And you take a look at your first 500 connections, you'll notice that most of them are people that you know well.
Yeah.
Then if you look at the past, you know, year or 2 years of connections, you'll notice that those connections, most of them, you have no idea who they are yet. So what ends up happening is LinkedIn opened up the connection gate. I call it the connection gate. It used to be that you needed people's emails to connect, or you needed to tell them how you know the person. And you need to verify, are you sure you know the person? And if you had more than 5 people that said, I don't know this person, they would ban you from sending connection requests.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow, it was so long ago. I remember this.
And now the threshold is much more. You can have many more people say, I don't know you, and it'll be fine. So I recommend sending at least 100 connection requests a day. You can send 100 connection requests a day, and then make sure that you don't have more than 1,000 pending connection requests, and you're good. And because you can go to your pending connections, you can go to your sent connection requests in My Network, click on My Network, click on send connection requests, and you can remove the ones that people haven't accepted anymore. And that's basically how you grow your network.
I love this. I don't know why I don't see the name, but nowadays I accept anyone. I reject people that I know. So.
Well, the reason you don't see that is because either they blocked you.
No, it actually a couple of the comments are coming in this way. Maybe because we're not connected. That could be why it's not going into StreamYard. But I'm loving this like commenting thing in StreamYard. It's so cool.
Yeah, you're such a nerd.
Listen, speaking of nerd, tell us your numbers goals. Remember when you and I chatted and you're like, I need 1,000 this and 100,000 that. What are your numbers?
Kate, I don't want to go viral. I don't want to go. My goal is not to go viral. I don't want 100,000 people to know who I am. I want 1,000 people see me 1,000 times a year. So I don't want to go viral. I want
a year or a day.
No, so I want 1,000 people to see me 1,000 times a year, not 1,000 times a day. Otherwise, I'll be just living in their house. So I want 1,000 people to see me 3 times.
Oh wait, so 1,000 people. Hold on, I don't think I get it. Say that again.
1,000 of the right people to see me 3 times a day.
3 times a day. Okay, got it.
1,000 times a year.
Okay, got it. That makes more sense.
But I like the term 1,000 people seeing me 1,000 times a year. So that means I have 1 million impressions from the right people.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could have 1 million impressions to 1,000 people, that's powerful. Last year I had over 5 million impressions, generated close to $1 million in revenue by what I've done, by what I've accomplished specifically through LinkedIn. So what I'm saying is that if you don't know where you're going, you might get somewhere else. And a ship without a rudder is eventually going to hit the rocks. So.
Or a ship with no direction is just going to stay out at sea.
Yeah,
keep
and
sailing.
eventually it'll hit the rock somewhere. It's going to land somewhere like a bottle. It's going to hit,
Yeah.
it's gonna hit something. So you don't want to hit rock bottom. Instead, you want to have a plan.
Yes. All right. Andrew. So path to get to doing what you're doing right now. So he's at about 1,200 or more, I guess, connections, and more to create a way to engage my network. My example would be to reach out to other community college instructors about teaching online. I'm sorry, Andrew, I'm not really sure what the context is here. I don't know, Joe, if you're getting it.
Yeah, I think what he's saying is right now he's at 1,200, 1,100 and change connections, and his goal is to reach to specific people, so community managers at colleges, and to
Yeah.
grow his network with those people. So my only advice to you is, yes, reach out to those people, but also reach out to engaged LinkedIn users so that when you post something, you have the capacity of getting more exposure in general to your posts.
Okay, question on that, getting exposure. Not sure if you get these messages. I'm going to assume you do. So somebody you've connected with knows that, let's say you get engagement on your content because, you know what you're doing on LinkedIn. And they posted something and then they message you and ask you to like or comment on their post.
Yeah, I mean, if it was not a solicited invitation to doing that, it can get annoying, right? So if I have something called groups of people that we all agree that we will like and comment on each other's stuff, right? So
Wait, you have a pod? Are you in a pod, Joe?
I don't call it a pod. It's just a group of people. It's a group
Yeah.
of people that all say, hey, let's join this group. And whenever you post about marketing, post it in this group and we'll all read it, enjoy it. And if we think it's worthy, we'll like and comment on it.
Okay, so just making them more aware. It's like your super followers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the people that are interested. So now some people are interested in personal development. So I have a group of people that are interested in personal development. So when I share something about personal development, I'll send it to those people and those people, because those people are interested in it. That's one way to get engagement, is just notifying people that you have a post that you posted. I often email people and say, hey, look at this post. If you feel like it's great, feel free to let me know your thoughts. You could also mention people in posts, people that are relevant, like I did in that post with the LinkedIn trainers that I showed you guys the example of. So my recommendation is being smart about how you get engagement. Don't be stupid. Don't just randomly share your post with 1,000 people you don't know. People are just going to block you, and that's just annoying. But be strategic. So, for example, if I posted a post about what are the best practices for being a coach, so what I would do is I would send it out to 100 coaches and say, hey, I just wrote an article or a post about what are the best practices. 1,000 people will see it. If you want to share your insights as a comment, feel free.
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting way to do that.
Yeah.
So, Scott Taylor, what's your point of view on weekend versus weekday posts?
My point of view is every day is an opportunity to get seen on LinkedIn. Just so you know, a post dies within 12 to 24 hours after you post it. How do I know this? I posted over 3,500 times, and I track every single post, how many views it has, and then I go back.
He really does track it, guys. I've seen a spreadsheet. It's crazy.
And so I go back to see it. Has the views changed from something from a month ago, from 2 months ago, from 6 months ago? And no, the views have not changed. Either it stopped tracking, but the same amount of comments, same amount of likes, the same amount of views. So obviously the post died. So my goal is to post a few times a day. But my recommendation to everybody watching this is post at least once a day, because the post will die and then you won't have exposure. So even on weekends, post.
Yeah. I know we've got about 2 minutes left. So let's just end with, where can people find out more about the kind of work you do? Do you want people to connect with you, follow you, talk to you? What do you want, Joe?
Yeah, so if you want, go to joelinkedin.com and follow me on LinkedIn. Join my next webinar. I just posted a link to my next live webinar. So join my next live webinar that's happening next week. It's going to be really great. It's the fastest way to get referrals on LinkedIn. I'll have really good slides. I'll have really good content and really good Q&A. So please join that. And let people know that if they want to learn how to use LinkedIn, they should attend that webinar, because I will teach you the right strategy. And the right strategy will save you a decade. So if you want to learn how to use LinkedIn, definitely reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. And I have lots of free resources that you could watch and learn from and download. On my profile, if you go to joelinkedin.com, www.joelinkedin.com, you can see me, or you can just click on my name right here on LinkedIn. And in my About section, take a moment to read my About section, because I have lots of really great resources in my About. The About section has 2,500 characters now. They extended from 2,000 to 2,500. and they removed the like media and they added the featured section. So they changed your profile around a little bit. So guys, go check that out. You have the ability to add more content to your about section. So learn from my about section about what the content ideas that you can add to your own about section. So go check that out. Let me know that you saw my profile. Send me a DM. Let's connect on LinkedIn and let's make it a better day. Boom.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, Joe. Really great having you on, and thank you for those who joined us on the live stream. All right, take care. I will see you on Friday. That's my next LinkedIn Live, and I know, Joe, you put your question, you put your next live webinar in there as well. So, all right, bye.
Bye.
All right, let's